All right. Now, here we are, the last time we met here during the class with my dogs learning German. We covered the present tense of the subjunctive. Well, it seemed to me now that it was time to do the past tense of the subjunctive, I would invite us back in during this class when they are being introduced to the past tense of the subjunctive. I think we can skip to all the pleasantries and the introductions. That's been done before, so let's get right to the lesson. Now, if you remember the present tense of the subjunctive, it's formed using the past tense of the verb. So in English and German, an example. So example, if I had money, means in the present time, I have no money. But I use the verb had to communicate that. In German, wenn ich Geld hätte. Alright, okay? If I were late, wenn ich spät wäre, oder wenn ich Verspätung hätte, so maybe I ought to change that one. If I were hungry, wenn ich hungrig wäre, oder Hunger hätte, we see the past tense of the verb sein, war, gets the umlaut, and that makes it subjunctive, but it makes it present tense subjunctive. Were, past tense, presently I am not hungry, if I were hungry. Alright, if I ate cheese means I'm not, or I don't in the present tense, eat cheese. So it stands to reason that if the present tense of the subjunctive is formed using the past tense of the verb, of the indicative verb, then the past tense of the subjunctive should be formed by another tense back, the past perfect tense. And it's true both in German and in English. Past tense of the subjunctive is formed both in German and in English using the past perfect tense. Now, just one more point. In the subjunctive, there's only a present tense and a past tense. Remember, it's a condition contrary to fact. It either describes something that didn't happen in the past or something that's not going to happen in the present. Can't refer to the future, and it can't be multiple pasts. All right? So, fortunately for us, they form it the same way. So let's take an example of a past tense subjunctive sentence in English. If I had stayed home, if I had stayed home, none of this would have ever happened. Okay? If I had stayed home. So I got my helping verb, just like I do in German, and I put it in the past perfect tense, just like I do in German. But in German, I add the umlaut to make it subjunctive. So, the verb to stay in German is bleiben. We know that the helping verb for bleiben is a form of sein. So the past tense of sein is war, and I make that subjunctive by putting my subjunctive ending on it, the I, and putting the umlaut on it, and I get wenn ich zu Hause geblieben wäre. If I had stayed home. Wenn ich zu Hause geblieben wäre. Then I have here, hätte ich Hans nicht gesehen. I would not have seen Hans. Would have seen, or in this case would not have seen, but that, remember, would have, this is from our present tense explanation of the subjunctive, would have equals had. And here, in the second clause, we would say, I would not have seen Hans. It's like had seen, right? And in German, you go and you just do that. Hätte ich Hans nicht gesehen, oder hätte ich den Hans, whatever I have here, hätte ich Hans nicht gesehen. I would not have seen Hans. What do I have? I have the past tense of my helping verb, haben, hatte. I give it an umlaut, hätte. I make it subjunctive, and now I can use it in the past tense of the subjunctive. Wenn ich zu Hause geblieben wäre, hätte ich Hans nicht gesehen. You must have bumped into him in the city or wherever you went, right? All right. Now, you don't always have to start with wenn, just like in the present tense. You don't always have to start with wenn. So here, hätte ich den Zug verpasst? Same thing. Verpassen, to miss. Helping verb is haben. There's no motion or change of condition. Make it subjunctive. Hätte ich den Zug verpasst, wäre ich ins Kino gegangen? Well, if I had missed the train, I'd have just gone to the movies. I would have gone to the movies. Once again, would have equals had. It's the past tense of have plus the past participle. So, wenn oder hätte ich den Zug verpasst, wäre ich ins Kino gegangen. Here I need wäre instead of hätte because my verb is gehen. It takes sein as the helping verb. Alright? Now remember, we're doing the past tense of the subjunctive. Now, what do I do with the past tense of the subjunctive when I have a modal verb? Alright, that gets a little more wordy. Okay, du hättest mitgehen sollen. That's the example I'm going to give you, and I'll show it to you in a second. Are we following this? Alright, good. Alright, so, du hättest mitgehen sollen. You should have gone along. Should have gone. Should have gone means you didn't go along. And in German, you have the helping verb. Remember, ich habe gehen sollen. I should have. I should have gone. Make that subjunctive to say du hättest gehen sollen. You should have gone. You simply take that haben, put it in the past tense, create the subjunctive form hättest. Du hättest mitgehen sollen. You should have gone along. Now, there's another example. Ich hätte ihm helfen können. I could have helped him. Once again, notice what you've got. You've got the double infinitive. You cannot have. In English we have I should have gone. You can't do that in German because that creates a double infinitive. That creates an infinitive followed by a past participle, which you can't have. It always has to convert to a double infinitive. So here we have ich hätte ihm helfen können. Du hättest mitgehen sollen. Double infinitive at the end. The helping verb with the modal is always going to be a form of haben. The fact that this is mitgehen does not mean you use sein. The main verb is sollen. It's always going to have haben. So that's the past tense of the subjunctive using a modal verb. This isn't too confusing, is it? Does anybody have a question? Well, that's overwhelming. Good. Now, I just want to compare and show you that you could use wenn. With the modal verbs, you tend not to use wenn, and I think you'll see why in a minute. So, had I had to go along, had I had to go along, hätte ich mitgehen müssen, hätte ich mitgehen müssen. Now I could start with wenn, with if I had had to go along. Okay? Wenn ich mitgehen müssen, look what you get. Wenn ich hätte mitgehen müssen. Remember, when you have a subordinate clause that where the verb normally goes at the end, it does not if it's preceded by a double infinitive. So look at all that stuff you got to remember. Okay? Wenn ich hätte mitgehen müssen, and not wenn ich müssen, I can't even hardly say it, mitgehen müssen hätte, saying something wrong sometimes can be confusing. Okay? So it can be done, and it is sometimes done, but I think generally you avoid this and you would have your subjunctive sentence without the wenn. Hätte ich mitgehen müssen, if I had to go along. Okay. And sometimes, remember to look at this example, it's a double infinitive at the end. It's the modal verb used with another verb, which is normally the case, but not always. Sometimes a modal verb stands alone. There's always an understood verb at the end. If I'm sitting there like this and saying, I gotta go, I think the teacher can figure out where you gotta go. All right, and so it's understood. I have to go. Well, that's a bad example because I used the to go. I have to. In the course of the conversation, the listener will know what you have to do. I have to stay. I have to buy this. I have to whatever. Okay? So here, when you have that and don't use the other verb, then you use the participle of the modal verb. Okay? Wenn ich es gekonnt hätte. If I could have. Now, understood is if I could have done that, if I could have eaten that, whatever the case is. If I could have. Okay? Wenn ich es gekonnt hätte, okay, hätte ich die Flasche ausgetrunken. I would have drunk the glass till it was empty. Drunk the bottle empty. Emptied the bottle in my drink. It's hard to say that in English. It's real easy in German, that verb austrinken, which we don't have in English. To drink till empty. So, wenn ich es gekonnt hätte. And that prevents this clumsiness of repeating this verb twice in these long, awkward clauses. Otherwise, you'd be saying, wenn ich die Flasche hätte austrinken können, hätte ich die Flasche ausgetrunken. What? That's goofy. So this makes it much simpler. And so remember, if you combine the helping verb with the past participle, the modal verb without another verb, it's normal word order, past participle at the end. Anybody having any problems? Yeah, I agree. We can't just do this once. We're going to have to do some exercises, and we'll probably have to review this again because you can easily forget it. So let me see if any of you can give me this sentence. Had I known. It's not a sentence. Let me just start with that little clause. Who can tell me, had I known? That's pretty close, Ginger. Well, Ginger, look what you did. You got Maggie up. All right. You're pretty close, but Ginger made a tiny mistake. Can anybody fix the mistake? Yep, that's it. That's it. Had I known. So in the past, I didn't know, and I want to say what might have happened if I did know, had I known. Okay? And that would be, hätte ich es gewusst. Hätte ich es gewusst. You got the past participle for wissen and the helping verb haben. Hätte ich es gewusst. Okay? So I think, okay, you want to finish the clause. Okay, give me your finish to the clause. All right, is that a personal story? Wäre ich nicht mit ihr ausgegangen. I wouldn't have gone out with her. Right, okay. Wäre ich nicht mit ihr ausgegangen. Once again, the past tense of the verb sein, because our helping verb ausgehen requires sein as the helping verb. We have war, we make it subjunctive wäre, use our participle, wäre ich mit ihr nicht ausgegangen. Had I known, what did you do? Get beat up by a bigger dog? Huh? Is that what happened? Oh, you can't even take a joke, I tell you. On that sour note, I think we should end this lesson.